Hello, colleagues, and welcome to this webinar hosted by Calgary Economic Development, or CED. Thank you to Chelsea, Luke, and the CED team for organizing this session and inviting me to give welcoming remarks. I am Crystal Larm, one of the ICT Trade Commissioners here at the TCS Regional Office for Alberta and the Northwest Territories, or ROANT, as you may see in emails. Much like your work at Post, we at the RO work in areas of trade, advocacy, and investment. In order to advance these goals, we work closely with provincial and municipal partners. One of the key partners for us is Calgary Economic Development. They are a long-standing partner for Global Affairs Canada on trade and economic files, not just here in Alberta, but globally. I'm delighted that in today's presentation, they will show you the diversity and strengths of Calgary's creative and interactive digital media sectors and the wealth of resources to be found here. And from the tech firms featured today, AMD and at Venue, you will hear why they selected Calgary for their expansion. I think you'll find today very beneficial as you continue your work in promoting Canada's tech sector and in attracting FDI from your regions. And with that, I have the pleasure of introducing Luke Azevedo, Commissioner for Film, TV, and Creative Industries at Calgary Economic Development for the next part of the program. Luke, over to you.
Thank you, Crystal. And thank you everyone for joining us. And we know that your time is valuable. So we're hoping that today we're able to bring to you a great overview of the industries in the city and our organization. In the creative industries, we are the digital media, gaming, AR, VR, XR, and as well as ML, and film, television, which is representative of about $2.8 billion worth of GDP in our city on a yearly basis. The impact that we're having is growing. Our government has made it very clear that the tech sector and the innovation sectors are going to be areas that are going to help us revitalize our economy in Alberta and in Calgary specifically for us. Calgary Economic Development is absolutely committed to growing the sectors and to ensuring that we have the capacity to fulfill the demand that is going to be there for us to be competitive and to grow our talent base and to create an environment where you have an opportunity to come to Calgary to grow your business, which we'll hear about later on. At this point, I'd like to introduce our team, a small but mighty team. Alyssa Craig, who is our manager of the creative industries, Jolene Motiak, who is our logistics coordinator, Chelsea Halleck, who is our interactive digital media business development manager, Aaron O'Connor, who is our business development manager for the Calgary Film Center, and Tori Romano, who works with us in the creative industries. So from there, I will like to turn it over to the team, turn it over to Chelsea, and then Aaron to go through what the creative industries look like in this area and how we can create an environment that is going to be able to allow you to develop and grow your businesses in Calgary. Thank you.
And thank you, Luke. And good morning to everyone. So let's get that big question right out of the way. Where in the world is Calgary, Alberta? Well, the short answer is that it's the second province in from the western coast of Canada. British Columbia is our coastal neighbor, and the city of Calgary is in the southern region of Alberta. With a new international airport, Calgary is connected to the world. Pre-COVID, Calgary had over 17.3 million passengers per year coming in on over 140 travel and cargo service flights per day from more than 85 direct routes. And those passengers from Asia, Europe, and the Americas connected by direct flights to Calgary. And each of them could then be downtown for their business meetings in only 20 minutes from landing at the airport. Calgary is thinking ahead and has implemented a strategic plan to thrive in the new economy. The 4-year strategy is to become the primary global destination for those who want to solve some of the world's biggest problems. but through advanced technology. The strategy has 4 key focus areas to deliver nationally, and these are safe and secure food, efficient movement of goods and people, better health solutions, and cleaner energy. And by the end of 2022, the digital spend in Alberta is expected to reach 18.4 billion across all industries. I'm just trying to move my mouse. And by the end of that, the digital spend across all industries, it's laid out on the next slide here. So we'll be sharing the full deck with all participants, so you'll have a chance to review it at a deeper lens. But please note that Alberta's creative industry sector will spend 2.4 billion on digital transformation from 2019 to 2022, which accounts for approximately 19% of Canada's spend in this sector. So why Calgary? Well, by this time the webinar is over, you're going to know. This morning, we're going to prove that Calgary has the right mix of talent for the future. Calgary is embracing diversification and digitization. Calgary has proof of a low-cost, business-friendly environment. The city has an exceptional quality of life, and there is support and funding for business available cross-governmentally. Ultimately, Calgary is a contemporary global city with everything that is required to support business growth and expansion for your clients. So let me continue to explain why. As we said before, Calgary is connected. Globally, Calgary is linked to every other major city. With transportation and logistics being a key pillar of our strategy, you can see that we're in a good position globally to move goods and people efficiently, and those direct movement pathways are competitive. But Calgary is also uniquely linked through thought leaders. It's the city of choice for many global headquarters. You can go to the next slide, there we go. There are 118 corporate head offices in Calgary, and it's the highest concentration of head offices in Canada per capita. Across all sectors, it's clear. Clients will have access to customers and capital in Calgary. But we're building a different kind of pipeline now in Calgary, and that is a talent pipeline. Building talent is a key pillar for Calgary's threefold aim to retain post-secondary graduates in fast-scaling tech companies, retrain by building programs to continuously upskill Calgary talent and future-proof our workforce in demand skills. And finally, Calgary is looking to recruit talent. Recruitment initiatives nationally and globally are actively attracting top talent to Calgary. So how are we future-proofing our talent needs? Well, the answer is with efforts to deepen the city's tech talent pool. Calgary has a well-developed plan to work with post-secondary institutions and industry partners to establish internships, continuously build and expand programs, and create skill development pathways and supports for tech talent. Although tech employment has increased in the city of Calgary by 17% in the last 5 years, thanks to low costs and plentiful labor, the plan will deliver a much higher outcome. The Southern Alberta Institute for Technology recently announced its new DX Talent Hub, which will offer highly integrated training programs in digital transformation from a continuing education platform. For individuals and corporate workforce, within 5 years, the DX Talent Hub is expected to graduate more than 1,500 individuals from its digital adoption training program, including graduating at least 3 dozen corporate workforce cohorts. But there's also research and development expertise in artificial intelligence and machine learning in Alberta. On this slide, you can see the level of research labs and activity in the province. Of note, AltaML has created applied data science internships over 3 years in Calgary to accelerate machine learning and artificial intelligence skills development through hands-on, paid, mentored work experience for up to 240 individuals with STEM qualifications. So this impact is actually to generate 240 graduates and 240 in-market hires. So let's look at Calgary by the numbers. The next table outlines cost savings on tech salaries in a variety of locations. But please look at the savings for US-based tech companies. Again, a reminder that you will be receiving the PowerPoint deck for further study and analysis, but here you can quickly see a comparison of starting level salaries in tech talent in different Canadian and US cities. And all salaries listed here are in Canadian dollars. But it's not just salaries. Calgary also has low cost per square foot in both office and industrial space. Calgary is affordable and available. Here's a comparison of Canadian cities' cost of rent per square foot downtown, as well as estimated op costs and taxes per square foot. Opportunities exist to find office and creative space. It's accessible, available, and affordable in Calgary. And all of this adds up. On the next slide, you'll see how cost savings on office space scale up over time. These are the details of Calgary offerings in Class A and AA office space right now. These cost savings continue because Calgary has also the lowest corporate income tax rate in Canada. Calgary boasts the 4th lowest tax rate among 111 global cities. And in addition, there is no provincial sales tax, no payroll tax, and no healthcare premiums. And these cost savings can be immense overall. It's true, you can afford to buy a home in Calgary. Housing is affordable in the city of Calgary. This data is reported in Canadian dollars for a median single-family detached home. And anyone buying a home in Calgary will definitely get more home. You'll get more square footage, more house than in many other places. If you can check it out, speaking in Canadian dollars in Canadian cities, Calgary competes at 5 to 6 times more house than can be purchased in Vancouver or Toronto. And this is one of our proudest factors. Did you know that Calgary has been listed as the best place to live in North America? For the past decade, the Economist Intelligence Unit has ranked Calgary in the top 10 cities in the world for best places to live. Recently, we were the only Canadian and North American city to land in the top 5. We rank perfectly in every area: stability, healthcare, education, and infrastructure. The only place where we lose a few points is weather, but that translates well if you're a skier. Calgary also offers an absolutely exceptional quality of life. You can leave your desk and be in the majestic Rocky Mountains an hour later, with 10 world-class ski resorts and 10 UNESCO heritage sites within a very short distance from Calgary. Also unique to our city are the Chinook winds. Temperatures can increase by 30 degrees in a matter of hours, and you may find yourself mountain biking or running on pathways in a t-shirt in the middle of winter. Year-round, Calgarians enjoy the largest urban bike path system in North America and an abundance of urban green spaces. We have over 8,000 parks and natural areas and are the sunniest major city in Canada with 333 days of sunshine per year. And when you're in the city, though, obviously transportation is key. According to a global traffic scorecard, there are 88 hours in total sitting in traffic in an entire year in Calgary, with 164 hours lost to traffic in Toronto. So clearly, it's way easier to get around in Calgary. Calgary and all Calgarians also celebrate diversity. There are 120 languages spoken in our city from more than 240 different ethnic origins. Our city's population is 1.47 million, with 33.7% of that population as visible minorities. And now let's talk about the creative industries. Calgarians are creators, storytellers, and innovators. They are producers, entrepreneurs, and skilled technicians. Calgary's creative industries includes over 24,000 employees in more than 4,400 businesses, with graduates filling the talent pipeline annually. In terms of film and television, there was $197 million in film and television production activity in 2019, with 70% of that production activity as direct foreign investment in projects in Alberta, and 30% of that was Alberta produced. So as you can see, Hollywood comes to Calgary because Alberta looks great on screen, and we have a critical piece of infrastructure, the world-class purpose-built Calgary Film Centre, with 3 large studios, support spaces, services, and equipment rentals. The Calgary Film Centre, combined with the following assets: award-winning crews and talent, globally competitive incentives, significant cost savings, high-quality life and lifestyle for visiting talent and creatives, accessible and affordable office space, and low utility costs and rental rates, make Calgary an undeniable location of choice for global film and television production activity. And now I'm going to take it over to Chelsea to talk about interactive digital media.
So we're just going to take a moment to transition to a brief video on Calgary's interactive and digital media sectors. We call this video Calgary, Hardwired for a Future in Creativity.
Creative people, they tend to like urban areas where they can find inspiration, like-minded people, and great living. This is why over the years, Calgary's become home to a ton of creatives, and with them comes creative industries. Take filmmakers and ad creatives, for example. They've been hanging out and doing incredible work in Calgary for a really long time now. Lately, though, we're seeing new creative industries. Machine learning and artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, blockchain, game design. Creative companies in these spaces are popping up and coming up. Gaming is the largest entertainment industry in the world, and we're a player in that space now. Established game companies are moving in, while game designers on a more grassroots level are finding their work available on Steam, Nintendo Switch, and Apple Arcade. AR and VR businesses have found an unexpected but enormous opportunity to help out already established industries like energy. Surprising match? Yeah, a little bit. Accident? Absolutely not. The seeds to strong creative industries have been planted, and now we're seeing them grow. Our schools are graduating skilled people across the board. Graphic designers, game designers, developers, animators, AR and VR talent, whatever you need. The talent to staff or start creative projects or companies is already here, and there's more on the way. Our creative culture is strong. The infrastructure and support are here, and the costs, they are low. Calgary is hardwired for the future. Creative industries here are done crawling. They've already walked, and now it's time to start running. So for companies and creatives of all types that are looking for good living and great opportunity, you'll find it right here in Calgary. Be part of the energy.
So you've seen what it takes, what makes Calgary an attractive market to grow a business. It's the low operating costs, the accessible space, and unmatched quality of life. It's why we're home to many entrepreneurs in the interactive digital media sector. Our entrepreneurs are developing creative technology solutions to advance all industries. Global companies like Critical Mass, Getty Images, Absorb Software, and AppVenue are leading the way in developing creative technology solutions in advertising, content creation, marketing tech, e-learning, and the live event industry software. A 2016 study showed that the digital media sector in Calgary supported 5,500 full-time employees and represented almost 500 million in GDP, with over 100 companies working in the e-learning space alone. We believe our mature market and head office culture creates a consistent demand for service providers, and our general business climate allows them to grow at a globally competitive scale. Within the year of the study, over a quarter of digital media companies expected to grow significantly by over 40%. Large deals are happening in Calgary. A local fintech startup, Solium Capital, recently sold to New York-based Morgan Stanley for $1 billion. In the interactive and digital media industries, game engine provider Unity Technologies acquired advanced and immersive tech solution provider and recent entrant to Calgary, Finger Food Advanced Technology Group. They've committed to 200 full-time jobs over the next 3 years. Denver-based game developer New World Interactive expanded to Calgary in 2019. They recently joined the Embracer Group as part of Saber Interactive to leverage significant new partnership resources. AMD, an American multinational semiconductor company based in Santa Clara, California, expanded to Calgary to focus on the development of its GPU software engineering talent. We, of course, look forward to having AMD join us later on the panel as well. And WeWork opened over 2,500 desks across 2 downtown locations in Calgary last year. Investors are taking notice. Cloud-based legal tech company Clio raised $330 million from US-based investors. Global software social enterprise company, the Calgary-based Benevity, raised $30 million. Calgary-based Cement, a software developer who uses a customer engagement platform to remediate consumer debt, recently raised $73 million. Cisco Canada invested an additional $15 million in their Western Canadian operations as they look to grow senior AI jobs in Calgary and a new cybersecurity office. Specifically in interactive and digital media, Beta, a music service provider allowing industry to send and receive digital files, recently raised 1.9 million, led by the Canadian Media Fund and private investors. Stellar Algo, who predicts and personalizes sports fan experiences, recently closed 1.5 million in financing to accelerate their ability to understand and nurture fan loyalty. Our innovation ecosystem has a host of supports to help entrepreneurs take off, including the following incubators and accelerators: Creative Destruction Lab, District Ventures, which is led by Canada's renowned entrepreneur Arlene Dickinson, ATBX Accelerator, Zone Startups Calgary, Harvest, and Foresight, among many others. Here's what companies in this space are saying about Calgary. Calgary-based Critical Mass has built a digital media empire with over 1,000 employees across the globe. From Toronto, Chicago, New York, Hong Kong, LA, Singapore, all the way to Costa Rica, they attribute their global success and scaling over the years in part to Calgary's unique blend of talent, demographic mix of the city, and high quality of graduates. At Venue, who services through 13,000 customers and over 675,000 events with 2.4 billion in sales, came to Calgary from San Francisco. They attribute their expansion of their development team in Calgary to being driven by access to high quality talent with less hiring competition and turnover than what's normal in Silicon Valley. Of course, we also look forward to hearing more from their CEO, Derek Ball, in the panel to follow. A few highlights from the growing video game and immersive tech sector. Global companies like Unity, New World Interactive, and Zero Key are leading the way in developing advanced technology hardware, immersive tech services, game development, AI, robotics, and more, all right here in Calgary. Approximately 65 companies work on video games and/or immersive media products and services in Calgary. 70% of these companies reported they will grow in the next 6 months. A new joint venture building studio is coming. Thin Air Games is being launched in 2021 and will support over 300 developers or 50 early stage game development teams over the next 5 years. The Calgary Game Developers Association has over 850 members, and while only 200 people are believed to be working directly in gaming, this leaves us a supply of talent that is eager to work in games and immersive tech. Calgary also has one of the most active streamer communities in Canada. A deep dive on some of the global companies in this space. So Unity is becoming a leader in innovative industry-first solutions for global companies across many platforms. Due to their acquisition of Fingerfood, they now work with clients like Lululemon, Mac, Microsoft, and others to build AI, ML, blockchain, robotic, and game-based technologies. Calgary-based startup VisWorks brings their customers' data to life using advanced technologies, including AR, VR, AI, IoT biometrics, and geospatial systems. They work with global clients like Mercedes-Benz and Synovus across a diverse amount of industries, including mining, construction, and defense and aerospace. Mammoth XR is an award-winning local studio who was recently recognized by Facebook head office for 2 AR/VR titles. Their VR game Thunder won awards on Oculus Store and at Vancouver International Film Festival. Alberta Innovates is a provincially funded R&D organization. They've launched a first-of-its-kind program focused on health innovation using immersive technologies. They're co-developing immersive innovations to enhance patient care with 7 industry collaborations currently underway. We also host world-class global events, including the boutique game developer and game industry event, Reboot Develop Red, which hosted participants from over 20 countries last year, and The Gathering, a Forbes top-rated business summit for cult-like brands. They hosted the world's most coveted brands for marketing and business professionals, from Doritos and Airbnb to Hot Wheels vans and Spotify to Beats by Dre. Here's what companies in this space are saying about Calgary. The CEO of Fingerfood, Ryan Peterson, made the decision to invest in Calgary because the community, local and provincial government all wanted him here. The city's livability, education system, talent, and affordability all drew them to invest in the city. The CEO of New World Interactive, game development studio in Denver, chose Calgary for Canada's favorable immigration policies and the ability to bring together their internationally based team from Amsterdam all the way to Mexico to a new home. Video games are the top revenue generating entertainment industry in the world. Forecasts indicate strong, steady growth with global revenue approaching US $200 billion worldwide by 2022. Immersive media is forecast to surpass $65 billion US globally by 2023. Recognizing the enormous global potential of both the video game and immersive tech sectors and recent attractions to Calgary in this space led us to commission a strategy to understand how Calgary could best approach building these two ecosystems. We asked our consultants for evidence-based recommendations that looked at multiple jurisdictions which have seen success with comparable starting market conditions. For an ecosystem to be successful, 3 key factors were identified. One being talent, the second being a triple helix engagement from government, academia, and industry, and the third being a clear path to success for entrepreneurs. I invite you to download the recently released video game and immersive tech strategy for Calgary and review the framework for how we will invest in this ecosystem to capitalize on a growing opportunity and establish ourselves as a hub for gaming and immersive technologies. Let's chat a little bit about funding programs. Our provincial government will release a comprehensive tech and innovation strategy this fall. We've already seen them implement the job creation tax cut, which dropped our tax rate to 8% as of July 1st, giving us the most favorable corporate tax rate in Canada and 4th lowest globally. For comparison, our neighbors in Vancouver and throughout BC have a corporate income tax rate that is 50% higher at 12%. In January 2021, we also launched the Innovation Employment Grant, which will allow SMEs to receive a grant for up to 20% off of their R&D-based expenditures. A new Alberta firm, for example, investing $250,000 could receive as much as $50,000 back through the new grant, compared to $25,000 in Vancouver or BC and $28,000 in Toronto or Ontario. We are also recapitalizing the Alberta Enterprise Corporation with $175 million over the next 3 years to provide venture capital funding to tech entrepreneurs. Invest Alberta has been created. This is a new provincial agency that will lead an aggressive worldwide business attraction campaign and expand our network of international offices. Keep an eye on what's to come for Alberta as we wait for further future announcements coming soon in the tech and innovation space. Other funding programs that are offered throughout Canada, Alberta, and Western Canada include the Canada-Alberta Job Grant, the Federal SHRED Program, MyTax, the Canadian Media Fund, as well as programs through Western Economic Diversification Canada, IRAP, and our very own Opportunity Calgary Investment Fund, which is administered by Calgary Economic Development. It's used to invest in large-scale, innovative, catalytic, and strategic projects. Some recent recipients include Finger Food at $3.5 million for 200 jobs over 3 years, and AltaML, who received $3.25 million to create 240 AI ML jobs over the next 3 years. So this concludes our Calgary presentation. Thank you all so much for tuning in and sticking with us and your time today. I hope you learned a lot about the opportunities in our market and are eager to collaborate with us on your clients' FDI needs. And as Erin mentioned, we'll follow up with you by email, including this presented deck, so you can dive deeper into the information and have a chance to digest. Right now, I'm going to ask our panel to turn on their cameras and join us. And I will ask them some questions about their decisions to invest in the market. And then following that, we'll allow you, our viewers, to do the same. So feel free to start adding your questions to the Q&A section. So we are joined by Chris Mason, Senior Program Manager, Machine Learning Libraries at AMD Calgary. AMD, for over 50 years, has been driving innovation in high performance computing, graphics, and visualization technologies, the building blocks for gaming, immersive platforms, and the data center. They have hundreds of millions of customers around the globe and are a leading Fortune 500 business. AMD opened their office in Calgary in 2018 to advance their GPU software and drive innovation in industrial sectors. We are also joined by Derek Ball, CEO and co-founder at Venue. At Venue is a live event management software, and since launching in 2013, they've worked with over 13,000 customers, servicing 675,000 events and closing 2.4 billion in gross sales, from Beyonce and the Rolling Stones to Coachella and South by Southwest. Pre-show to post-show, At Venue software has become the industry standard for maximizing live event merchandise revenue. So hopefully I did justice to both of those companies.
Great job, Chelsea.
And so now I've introduced your organizations, but let's start with a little bit of background as to who each of you are, what you do, and any additional context you'd like to provide. Derek, do you want to start?
Sure. So I'm Derek Ball. I'm co-founder of At Venue. I actually am went to high school and university in Calgary. I've built a few technology teams out of Calgary. I moved down to Silicon Valley a little over a decade ago, and continue to grow teams in Calgary because it's been a great place for me personally and professionally. And you know, it's and I get back up there a lot because, as was pointed out in the presentation, it's very convenient, easy access. So multiple direct flights a day from San Francisco to Calgary. So I love coming back up there.
Great. And Chris?
Yeah, thanks, Chelsea. Yeah, Chris Mason. I'm a senior program manager at AMD, and we work on, at least in Calgary, a lot of the high-performance computing components that are being, I guess, distributed throughout some of the national labs in the United States to make these gigantic supercomputers that will run all sorts of wonderful applications, ranging from medical research, climate science, and all sorts of things like that. Background-wise, I also grew up in Calgary, went to school here, high school here, university here, did my master's actually at Stanford down in California, but then came back to Calgary to pursue my tech career. And so I guess sort of similar story to Derek in that regard, bit of Valley, bit of Calgary in me in that regard. So those are some of the things we're working on, but we'll probably get into that a little bit more as we continue our discussions.
Okay, so both AMD and At Venue have roots in California. Can you both speak to what initially provoked you to look at Alberta and the Calgary region for your expansion? And I'm sure it helped that you both have some personal roots here, but Chris, I'll let you go first.
Thanks, Chelsea. Yeah, absolutely. And to kind of encapsulate it in one word, it was really the talent, or the talent pool that was available here in Calgary. Specifically, AMD saw an opportunity with an existing company that was here, another local tech company called Accelaware, and they were able to make a business arrangement such that the team at Accelaware was able to move to AMD in the fall of 2018. And that talent pool is focused on GPU programming and machine learning, which is it's a skill set that's very in demand these days. And given that the team was already here, it was a great opportunity for the organization to expand its roots to Calgary and grow out to Western Canada.
And for Derek, what initially provoked you to look at Calgary for your expansion?
Well, certainly having had previous positive experiences building teams in Calgary was a big influence. When we founded At Venue 8 years ago, we have an office in Orange County, California, one in San Francisco, and our warehouse is in California. But with the experience we had working with world-class technology software engineers. We elected to put the team there. But in addition to just the fact that there's great talent there, it's one of the things I love about the Calgary technology community is stability. When you, and Chris, I'm sure you've experienced the same thing, but in Silicon Valley, every time you hire somebody, 5 recruiters are calling them, trying to poach them and take them to some other company. And so as a result, it actually becomes difficult to maintain stability in the tech team. So there's a high cost of the tech team to begin with, and then the constant turnover and transition. What I found in Calgary was a more rooted set of technology talent. They're very family focused. They love being in Calgary. These are people that have the skills to live anywhere in the world, and they choose to live in Calgary. And I find it's created a lot of very positive effects for the teams that we build there.
Awesome. So tech talent, I mean, we talk about it every single day. It's such a growing need in every single market in the city, and our city's strategy, Calgary and the New Economy, focuses on talent as a key pillar. We've seen significant increases in this tech talent funnel. Aaron talked about the 300% increase in our training programs over the past 2 years, the new state school, among other things. How's Calgary's focus on developing the tech talent funnel through retraining, recruiting, retaining talent, helping you meet your growing and evolving talent needs? And what has been your strategy for building your teams here in Calgary?
I'll chime in on this one. I think one of the things I've noticed has changed a lot in Calgary over the last 10 years has been this focus on diversifying the skill set of the tech pool. Having operated tech teams in Calgary for over 20 years now, in the beginning, I found a lot of the training that people were receiving was really conditioning them to go into the energy industry and to deliver on the technologies that the energy industry offered. And that's been something that I've noticed a big shift in lately, because we would often have to hire people because when we hired people, we'd have to retrain them on the tech stack that we worked with. And so now it's become much easier to find people that have now had the appropriate training to come and work on things which are outside of the energy sector, which has been very beneficial for us. And we've also found, we've hired people that former petroleum engineers who decided to get out of energy and come into software. And so I think there's a much more diverse talent pool than what I've seen 20 years ago, for example.
Yeah, and to kind of elaborate and fill in on what Derek was saying there, I completely agree with that statement, Derek, as well. Don't have to compete with the energy industry as much to grab your tech talent these days. University of Calgary, University of Alberta, extremely strong software engineering programs and computer science programs as well, and makes a fantastic funnel for tech talent. And we know SAIT's moving in that direction. We're really excited to hear about that. One of the programs for retraining specifically was the University of Calgary now has a master's program for, I believe, mechanical and possibly other types of engineers that allow them to transition more to the tech industry. We've actually hired at least one individual who's gone through that program as well. So the retraining piece, I know, is sort of a big cornerstone to some of the plans going forward. So it's nice that we're able to leverage some of those opportunities for folks. But and in terms of retention, the problems we work on are hard, and I'm sure Derek has the same kind of things. They're very challenging, and that encourages people to stay and tackle those tough problems. They're cross-disciplinary problems that span different fields, and I think it makes coming into the office, well, when we're allowed to do that, an interesting day and an interesting lifestyle. And again, just to echo one more comment from Derek there too about being able to I guess retain folks that you're not necessarily losing them to a lot of different tech companies. So there's good growth in Calgary, but it's a great lifestyle and a good way to retain folks here in Calgary also.
Yeah, it's the messaging that we try to always explain to tech talent too, is when you have a career in Calgary, it's actually like a really interesting, multifaceted tech career. You know, you're not just working on one line of code. They're complex problems and situations, and you can have a really meaningful career in technology here. You both come from markets that are globally known for their tech and innovation ecosystems. How have you found you've integrated yourself into the local ecosystem in Calgary? And what do you tell others about the support systems that are here for tech and innovation companies, or or any of the partnerships that potentially you've been able to explore as a result of being in this market?
Yeah, maybe I'll start with this one here. Yeah, the local community has been absolutely fantastic. I mean, even events such as these, getting the opportunity to come and speak. So, kudos to Calgary Economic Development for all their efforts and helping us get connected. The Alberta Machine Intelligence Institute, Amy, has been wonderful as well in engaging there. We've also worked with the universities in a couple different ways. One is to kind of understand the pipeline of talent and what their focus is on their curriculums and training of their students to create a pipeline for us to leverage in our business has been very critical. So as well, Alberta Innovates, the City of Calgary, and just the Alberta government in general have been very open to AMD and our expansion into the Calgary and Alberta ecosystem.
Awesome.
And I would add, I think there's some very interesting areas where we've been able to dive in and help to grow the ecosystem, which I think is great for both us and the ecosystem as a whole. For example, our VP of product, Mike Wong, is on the board and has worked a lot with, I think it's called Product Calgary, where you're training the next generation of product managers. Because although we had a lot of great, we observed there was a lot of great software engineering talent in Calgary, and specifically in software, the product management side didn't seem to be as evolved as we saw it in some of their markets. So we're jumping in and growing that. And there's a strong interest in Calgary to actually make these and bring up the next generation of product managers. So they've created product manager internship programs where they rotate through different Calgary companies and get practice experience, how they handle product management, for example. But I'd also then add that something was a bit of a surprise, pleasant surprise when we started up is being in the live music industry. It's a fairly specific sector. And I was quite surprised when I would get introduced to another CEO or founder who also had a company focusing on the live music industry, also headquartered in Calgary, such as live music in the cases of PK Sound, XA Live, Bazooka, Showpass, all based in Calgary, or adjacent like Stellar Algo, really focusing on sports. And I think we've had great conversations with these companies about how some of our technology may intersect and we can work together on things. So I was really excited to see this growing ecosystem of live entertainment companies that are kicking up in Calgary as well.
Yeah, it is a really interesting niche that a lot of entrepreneurs have latched onto here, and it's always a cool story to tell, the live event industry ecosystem that's popping up here. And I appreciate the partnerships that you're not just joining a tech and innovation ecosystem, but clearly both of you are making an impact in growing it as well. When you're recruiting from out of market, when you're bringing in talent into Calgary, what do you tend to tell them to get them to invest in the marketplace or move to Calgary?
Well, we actually haven't hired that much from outside of Calgary because if we're hiring US personnel, they tend to work in our US office. If we hire Canadian personnel, we're generally hiring from within Calgary. We found an adequate pool to draw from within Calgary. But the one exception to that is we did recruit 2 software engineers from Brazil and relocated them to Calgary. And that was, it was definitely, we used all the tools that CED provided in terms of decks to educate them because they hadn't been here. They didn't know what they were coming into. And they both have thoroughly enjoyed being here. They've been here almost 2 years now. And so I think, again, appreciate all the tools that CED provided us to help us attract this talent.
Yeah, and to follow on to that, didn't Aaron's presentation just kind of summarize that all for Calgary, really, and the big perks of it? In practice, yeah, it's we're a multinational organization, so again, yeah, if we hire in outside different jurisdictions, they tend to stay in those local areas because we tend to have offices there. But for Western Canada and Calgary and Alberta in particular, I think part of the challenge is trying to keep them here because the opportunity of the big city and the big lights of New York City or San Francisco can sometimes be be a challenge for retention. So some of the things that again that were shown in Aaron's presentation really do underscore the lifestyle and the mountains and the outdoors activities and the family life that that is absolutely spectacular, or number one really in Canada and in North America. It's right up there. So definitely a lifestyle thing. It's for us, it's more of a retention, I think, and keeping those who've gone through the programs within Alberta to keep them here and keep them growing our economy here. And those are the ways that we do it. But in many ways, Calgary kind of sells itself in that regard. So the fact that there's opportunities for the career growth keeps folks engaged and excited to be in our wonderful city and province.
Yeah, definitely.
Something that I would add on that too, for all the folks that may not have been to Calgary yet on the call. When I left Calgary, let's say over a decade ago, in the time that I've been coming back, something that also has really impressed me is how culturally diverse Calgary has become. And I think even the culinary experiences, when I used to go out to dinner in Calgary, this always seemed like your range of options was quite low if I go back a dozen years. But now you can find any food, world-class quality, as good as anything you're going to find in San Francisco. So I've got to really give Calgary kudos for that growth and the diversity of lifestyle. I think that I've been very impressed with.
Yeah, that's one that we hear a lot from talent that's moved from out of market, especially if they've come from Vancouver or Toronto. They might have had misperceptions about what they would have thought of the food scene here, but it always blows people away. Any final thoughts or advice you'd give a future investor who's looking at Calgary?
Sure, a wonderful place. Come visit, come set up some roots here and set up some offices and growth here. The talent is absolutely fantastic here. The opportunities are endless and just continuing to grow. Machine learning, high performance computing, just tech in general is ramping up very, very rapidly here, and it's a spectacular place to do business.
And I would say we continue to look forward to growing our team and the ecosystem in Calgary. It's been great for us. And if anybody ever wants more information on any of that, I'm always happy to chat.
Thanks, Chris and Derek, for your time today and being so candid in our panel here. I'm just going to probe the audience one more time and see if any of our participants would like to ask any questions to Chris or Derek while we have them. We're a little bit light on the Q&A, but I do have one question from Mario Diaz. In the past, I remember programs that matched foreign VCs invested in companies in Calgary. Can you elaborate if such programs still exist? So we did mention the one, we don't have a matching program, but we did just see a reinvestment of $175 million in Alberta Enterprise Corporation over the next 3 years, which will help build venture capital in the province. And so that, like in terms of government support for venture capital, is the existing program. Don't know if I have any. I don't know exactly which potential company or program that would be referring to, but hopefully that answers your question, Mario.
I would add, I think from my experience as having done multiple startups, that the venture capital industry in Canada has really evolved and grown as well over the last decade. We have our primary lead investor at that venue is Real Ventures out of Montreal. And they were happy to invest in a company that was doing business in Alberta. It used to be, again, going back in time, much harder to raise venture capital in Alberta than it was, especially looking at Silicon Valley. But these days you have a lot more real experienced funds like Real Ventures and Innovia and dozens more I could point at. But I think the venture capital landscape has become quite diverse in Canada as well.
Mm-hmm. And less like, do you find they're less focused on market, like that they have more of a global approach to where you're located as well?
Definitely. I think there's been enough growth in the Calgary and the Canadian ecosystem in Calgary as well, that investors are now no longer feeling like they have to be in the same city as the company they're investing in. And they're recognizing that good companies come from everywhere.
And then for Danielle, who's looking for a copy of the presentation, we'll email it out to everybody who's registered following the presentation today. Thanks for asking. Great. And if there's no other questions, then I think that we'll just thank you guys again for your time here today and for engaging in the panel and for all of the participants who joined us. And we look forward to following up with you all and hopefully collaborating on your FDI efforts in Calgary.